wanted to say a few more words about Rebecca. I've watched her go through, literally grow up in Mary Kay like I did, and navigated around a baby. Now that baby's was the biggest help to us when we were there, helping organize and just so eager to help. And now she's got another little baby and a grown son and a daughter-in-law, and that's in Mary Kay doing her own thing with it too. So, but I just wanted to say how impressed I was with her, with how professional she was. And we did meet with some people to do some shares. She's got it going on. She's going to be one of our very next inspired area leaders. So let's give it up for Miss Rebecca Hughes. I'm going to put this on speaker view.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm so excited. And you guys know me, I have a tendency when I get super excited to get very energetic and to talk really, really fast. However, I'm going to do my very best to, in my excitement, center myself, because as I was thinking and praying and meditating over the last couple of days and in preparation for this training, you guys, I am so excited. It is going to be a follow-up to kind of what we did last week about booking and how to create a system for yourself. For a couple of different reasons. It doesn't matter where you're at in your business. The numbers that I'm going to be talking about today are like leader level, super solid income level numbers. However, you can do this with however many like contacts you have. So I'll talk about that. But as I was thinking and I was praying and I had a conversation with one of us here before I talked to Denise, it was really, really impressed upon me that I want to take a few minutes on the front end of my training to just kind of help us to center and visualize for a moment, because we can give you guys all of the tools. We can have all of the tools ourselves. And if we really, really don't just pause for a minute and really work on the center of what we're doing, why we're doing it. I mean, we talk about our why quite a lot, but then the biggest thing that was really impressed upon me over the last couple of days is our thought process and our mindset, but specifically our deserve level around what it is that we do here in Mary Kay and what we have access to. So I really want to take a couple of minutes on the front end and just kind of do a little bit of recentering and visualizing, if you guys will do that with me. And then we'll get into our training, because I feel like if we don't feel like we deserve what Mary Kay has to offer, all of the training in the world isn't going to do anything for us, really. We can go through all of the steps, we can see all of the faces, but if it's not right in here and it's not solid in here, we can be doing all of the things right and still not see the results that we're hoping for. And I am right here in this boat with you guys. And so, what I would really, really love to do, if you guys will humor me for a moment, is I would love for you to just close your eyes for a minute. And then we're just going to all take just a nice, deep, cleansing breath together. So deep breath in and a deep breath out. And with your eyes closed, I want you to visualize, first of all, like what sparked the interest to start Mary Kay in the first place? Is it to get your products at a discount? Was it for the hope of something more? Was it to make money, for your family? Is it to have that girlfriend time? Like, what was it that prompted you to say yes and to sign your agreement? And then what I want you to do is I want you to take yourself to the now, and I want you to ask yourself, why are you still here? Why are you continuing to say yes to Mary Kay every day? What is it that is keeping you showing up on meetings, connecting with Denise, Like, what is that deeper hope and desire in your heart? Because the thing that I know to be true is that I think every single one of us has a dream of some kind, whether it's a dream for more connection. And the biggest question that I want you to ask yourself is, do you feel like you, like in your heart of hearts, do you feel like you truly deserve your deepest heart's desires and your dreams and the things that keep you connected to Mary Kay? And if that's something that you wrestle with, what I really, really want to encourage you to do is to just start with those I statements. Like, I do deserve abundance in Mary Kay. I deserve the greatness that this company has to offer. I deserve fill in the blank. So I just want you guys to like visualize those things, say those things, write them down. I deserve. Maybe there are some I'm worthy statements. So I am worthy of financial abundance. I am worthy of amazing friendships with females. I am worthy of freedom and flexibility with my family. Okay, and then we can open our eyes. So, the thing that I know to be true over my almost 12 years of being in Mary Kay, which is still kind of crazy to me, is that if it doesn't strike the heart, it's not going to move you, right? It won't sustain you. So we can have great goals and we can have great visions and everything. But if we really don't get it down to the heart and strike the emotion, eventually our motivation, inspiration is going to fizzle out, right? Where we need to operate from discipline and commitment versus just the inspiration, right? You know, because there's times where it's like, you know, kind of like I talked about earlier. I'm a mom of a 16-month-old who still does not sleep at night. And sometimes getting up and getting cute is really challenging. And yet, right? I have to show up not just for my family, but for myself. That's discipline. That's commitment. That's not giving a lot of life into postpartum garbage, right? Um, and so the same is true for our business. And I think that this can be applied to no matter where you're at in your business. You know, I know that we have a lot of women that love the social connection and they show up and we connect and they might be considered a little bit more personal use, and this is valuable for you too, whether you can apply this to Mary Kay or elsewhere. But as I was really thinking about you ladies and planning and preparing and praying over this training, and it has the potential to massively like create this paradigm shift in your business. And for those of us that are looking at it or already in it, so like Denise, Kelly, right, you're already in leadership status. There's several of us that are wanting and desiring that and working towards that over the next couple of months. And I know there's some of you that have that in your eventual future, right? So whether it's in the next 6 months or a year or 2 years down the road, you guys have your eye on it and you know who you are, right? So these are things that I think, you know, we really, really need to keep in mind and really work on it. You know, how often do we see other people, specifically on social media, the most popular way to follow people, right? And they're picking up their first Cadillac, or they're finishing out DIQ, and we're cheering them on and we're excited. And we say things like, you are so deserving, you are so worthy. And yet we don't feel like the same is true for ourselves. And we really, really need to be doing that for ourselves too. Like, there's a saying that we can be our own worst critic or our own worst enemy. We can also be and should be our biggest cheerleader, because when the world gets really noisy or silent, one of the two, we have a tendency to take that on as our self-worth and our self-deserve, and then we freeze ourselves. You don't necessarily have to raise your hand, or you could, but how many of you have been working towards somebody and somebody has had something negative to say? Or maybe when you were growing up, you came from a home that it was not always the most encouraging in any way, shape, or form, right? And sometimes, I know this has been true for myself, and I've really, really been working on this, is like, um, why am I continuing to allow something that somebody said 10 years ago about me hold me back from not only now, but from my future, right? Um, and so really, really processing and working on that. And then I have a really interesting uh, statistic and fact for you guys that I find this very, very interesting. Did you know that the fear of failure is not actually the biggest thing that holds most of us back? Did you know that? Okay. So a lot of people, when you're talking to them about their biggest fear in succeeding, they say, well, I'm afraid to fail. Okay. I'm afraid of not reaching it. I'm afraid of not doing it, and blah, 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 right? That is not actually the biggest thing that holds people back. That generally, the thing that holds people back about 70 to 75% of the time is actually the fear of succeeding. It's well, what if I get there and XYZ? My biggest one was, I know how my people in my circle of influence has talked about very successful people, either in whether you deem success as income, house, status, title, whatever. People in my family, specifically the people that I can't get rid of, okay, or shouldn't, they have said some really, really awful things about people who are very, very successful out of jealousy or whatever the reason is, right? And sometimes, like in the past, it's hard not to replay those things like, oh, are they going to think that of me when I get to, right? Because that's my future, when I get to XYZ level. And it has held me back. And so I really, really want to encourage you guys, why would you be afraid of the success that Mary Kay has to offer you? And if it is something that somebody has said, we need to say cancel, cancel, right? And get that out of our head and ask ourselves, why are we allowing somebody who A, is not living our life or paying our bills to define what we choose to do in our future or now? And why are we allowing something that was said 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 25 years ago, continue to determine our now and our future? So I just really, really felt called and compelled to share that with you guys. And if you want to have more a conversation around that, I am obviously very willing, very open to that, because I have generally, so like in the past when I was moving up into directorship before, the people who I thought would be my biggest cheerleaders were the most negative people that tried, it's that crab mentality, right? Yeah, don't take advice from somebody who they're not where you want to be or are. But it's like that crab mentality, when they're stuck, they want to keep you stuck with them. And so we're just going to break free from that right now. We're just going to break free from that. And at the end, I have a couple of encouraging statements that I really want to speak over us as well. But so with that being said, okay, we've got some breath, we've centered, cleared our minds just a little bit. I am so excited to talk to you guys and teach you about the 21-day booking challenge. Has anybody ever heard of this before? Okay, Heidi has, Denise has. I know. So this is actually talking about fun full circle moments. I actually trained on this how many years ago, Denise? Like it was pre-COVID. I think I trained
Probably
on
been
this.
6 or 7 years ago, or something
Yeah.
like that. 6 years ago,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yes. So I'm training on the 21 day booking challenge. Now this it is a way to create a system to follow up with whatever leads you are working with without feeling like you're quote unquote bugging them. Okay. And where this came from was it was, let's see, I've been in Mary Kay for 12 years. So 11 years ago, when I was going into DIQ, there was this beautiful woman. So my director at the time and her director, we met at the same facility at the same time. And her and I entered into DIQ at the same time. Her name was Mary Beerwagon Lyons, and she was a hot shot. She ended up being a 1 month wonder. She did DIQ in 1 month, and they were in the Crystal Trojanowski area. She is no longer in Mary Kay, but at the time that she was in Mary Kay, specifically within her first year of business, man, she was a hot shot. She rocked and rolled. She was in Mary Kay 1 month, submitted DIQ month two, finished DIQ, went on target and earned her car in month three, and did all of the new director challenges and promotions and all of the things. And she was so amazing. And she was one of my running partners. We did a ton together when she was active in her business and everything. And she ended up in the a couple of years that she was in Mary Kay, she ended up earning like 2 cars, I think, like the consultant car and mid-level car. Like she was pretty awesome. So anyway, so she came up with this 21 day booking challenge that got adopted into, started in the Crystal Trojanowski area, and obviously it spread like wildfire along the lines of like the Waverly Way, right? Because it absolutely exploded and it changed people's businesses. And this is why. Okay. So it is a trickle system of starting with a certain amount of names and phone numbers. And I'm going to walk you guys through the whole thing and doing different touches and connections because of these statistics. How often do we reach out to somebody one time and then we're like, oh, well, like, I don't know if I should follow up with her. Maybe we do twice, but then after that, we're like, no, I'm bugging them. Like, I'm afraid to reach out. I don't know what they're going to think. And Heidi actually said it earlier when she was talking about her party is like, I knew that the fortune is in the follow-up and I needed to just keep circling around and circling around and circling around. And when I give you the statistics as to why, you will understand why Heidi got the sales and as they're continuing to trickle in. Yes, phenomenal people. And the follow-up is extremely key. So some statistics before I explain the process that we're going to do. Heidi has supporting documents. I've got 2 different packets that I'm going to upload to the Facebook page that kind of speak to different personality styles, different organizational styles. It's got scripts, everything that you need to know, everything that you need to say.
Which one do you want me to share first?
So we're going to do the green one, I think.
This
The other
one?
one.
This one.
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
Okay. So, um, so some statistics for you guys really, really quickly. Okay. I'm going to go slow so you guys can write this down because it's pretty eye-opening. Only 2% of sales or bookings, calendarings, whatever cool word that you want to use. Only 2% happen on the first attempt. Only 2%. And how often we've all done it after the first attempt, we're like, ugh! And then we're upset. We're like, I don't understand why people aren't booking with me or following up about the sale. Okay. 3% of sales or bookings happen after the second attempt. Only 4% of sales or bookings happen after the third attempt of connection. Okay. Like I think about how many times, specifically in this season of new momhood again, how many times like I've totally intended on texting people back and I totally forget, right? It's not personal, it's life. I mean, I will say specifically, I texted my son this morning and guess what? He didn't text me back. I know he loves me, right? It's the same thing. It applies in all areas of our life. Okay. So 2% of sales or bookings for the first attempt, 3% for the second attempt, 4% for the third attempt. When we reach out a fourth time, it bumps up to 10% of people will purchase or book with you after the fourth attempt. Okay. So if you want to make your business super successful and you only want to reach out 1 or 2 times, you got to have a lot of leads, is what this is getting at. That's hard work. Okay. Doesn't have to be hard. It just needs to be consistent. So then check this out, you guys. From the fourth attempt to the fifth attempt, it jumps from 10% to 81%. So 81% of people will book or purchase from you after the fifth attempt and more. And actually, the current statistics actually show that so back when this was created, it was anywhere from 5 to 7 attempts is what would catch people's attention. Now it's actually kind of closer to like 10 to 12. That's really gross, but that's the math, right? And so we say this business is not magical, it's mathematical. And so what happens is so often, specifically with newer consultants or consultants who haven't done anything for a while, we get excited, we get inspired, we get motivated, and we're like, yes, I'm gonna get stuff on my books. And we get our names and phone numbers. Maybe you have 10, and you reach out to them once, you wait a couple days, you reach out to them twice, and then almost always that's right where people stop. And they're like, only one person reached out, and I'm feeling so discouraged. And they're like, right? And then you go back into the stagnant again. And it's this vicious cycle that we repeat on ourselves. Whereas if we just played the numbers and we played it out and played the script out, and you got to that 5 or 6 or 7th attempt, you are more likely, obviously 81% more likely to book or get that sale. And Heidi said it with her sales. She just kept reaching out and kept reaching out. And it's not that you're bugging them. It's that we all have life. We've all done it. Like I'm pretty sure I did it a couple days ago to a friend. I totally forgot to text her back, right? Like we do this to ourselves and we do this to people. So basically what this system is so I'm going to go through and it's working with an average of 10 names and phone numbers. Now, I will tell you 10 names and phone numbers, that is like leadership career type level activity. Okay. Really 10 names and phone numbers, honestly, reaching out to them daily, if we're honest with ourselves, takes an average of 10 to 15, 20 minutes. It's not that much unless you're pre-profiling or you're getting them on the phone. If that's not where you're at, start where you are. Start with 3 names and phone numbers. Start with 5 names and phone numbers and work them through this system in this process and see if your results end up being different. So what this is, Heidi, you can go ahead and pull those documents up. So the first page of this is talking about, okay, why would we do it? So it goes through the numbers that I just gave you, but I don't want to bother them. And so it's kind of going through how to start, what to do, why would you want to do this process, and the difference that it's going to make in your business. Okay, so that's what that first sheet is. So I recommend printing this out, putting it in a binder or whatever. Okay, so then for this one, I chose this one because I really, really love this tracking sheet. Okay, so Monday, let's say you're going to do this and day 1 is Monday. What you're going to do is you're going to plug in your 10 names and phone numbers. Okay, and then you can see that there are different colored boxes, either above or at the very last page. It actually tells you what the colors, oh, yep, there it is right there. What colors mean, okay? So Um, yeah, right there. And so basically what this is it's a process of calling and texting. Now, I know that there are so many people that don't do actual phone calls anymore. And that's okay if that's where you're at. Just know that this process is going to take twice as long because the whole thought process is, and there's scripting below that we'll get into in a minute, is that you call them more often than not, you're going to leave a message and then you follow it up with a text. So that's day one for contact one. The cool thing about it is each activity is considered a touch. So when you call them, that is considered a contact touch. And when you text them, that is considered a contact touch. So you've just done two right there for contact one. Okay. So depending on what ends up happening, it's got all 7 days. Now, some of us don't work 7 days a week. Maybe you just choose to do Monday through Friday or Saturdays, whatever your process is for your family, like go through that, right? And so this is what it's telling you. So what you're going to do is the recommendation is to start with 30 names and phone numbers. Hence why I am going to do a 30/24 in the next 48 hours, okay? You plug it into 3 different days. Day one, you call your first 10 names and phone numbers, leave a voicemail, send a text, okay? Mark if you got a hold of anybody. If you happen to get a hold of anybody, you make notes about that. Then what you're going to do is you're going to roll those 10 names and phone numbers to day 4. Okay. And day 2, you're going to start with your next 10 names and phone numbers. So for the first 3 days, you're contacting 10 different people each day. Day 4, you're going to circle back to the day 1 people because you're going to roll them forward. And anybody that you did not connect with, this is the message in the text that you're going to send again. Okay. And then if for anybody that you didn't actually have a conversation with or get in contact with, you're going to roll them over to day 7. And this is what you're going to say. Now, pay attention because it's just a little bit different. And so basically at this point, you are on touch 5 and 6. Okay. And so basically, if you read that scripting, what it says is, "Hi, Heidi. This is Rebecca with Mary Kay following up with you one last time. I'm assuming that you're super busy. So if I don't hear back from you, I am going to put you on my list to connect with you in 2 months." And then you say the same exact thing in a text. And you guys, it is magic what happens at this point. Almost always, when you send that voicemail and you send the text that says, "Hey, this was me just following up one more time about your beauty session. I'm assuming you're super busy and probably don't have time right now. So I'm going to go ahead and put you on my list for 2 months out if I don't hear back from you." And I swear to goodness, you guys, that phrasing right there like prompts something in them and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I don't want to miss out." And almost always you get a message right here. Okay, if you haven't heard from them at all during the other 2 touches, right here is where the magic happens. And then there are some people where you won't hear from them, and then that's what you do. You take their name and phone number, you roll it forward in your calendar 2 months out, and then you start this process with them again. Okay. It's absolutely beautiful. Now, the cool thing about this packet is it's going to walk you through. Are you a beginner consultant? This is for seasoned consultants and what you say. It's got scripting for referrals. So this is the new consultant one. So it's talking about connecting with your friends and family. There's scripting with warm chatter. This is what you would say, literally, the process that you would do. If you are, yeah, so this would be like a facial box one. So cold leads who have won something. If you've got referrals, if you're working a booth, it's really, really cool because it walks you through everything to text, everything to say in your voicemail. And then it gives some really, really great tips right here. And so again, this is a way to follow up with your people, to make sure that nobody is falling through the cracks. Because how many times or how much business and how many people are we leaving on the table? And then this is actually really helpful too, because like I know Kelly coached on this a couple of weeks ago, talking about the full circle booking and coaching. So it has all of this stuff in there for you. Gives you great reminders, what to do 2 days before, 24 hours before. And some of this, depending on the type of party that you're doing, can be adapted, right? So maybe you're doing virtual and you need to add in, send out samples or whatever. But and yeah, that document right there is actually really great to use whether you're doing this system or not. But I would highly recommend like printing this out and creating a binder for yourself. And then the trickle system, you can do a couple of different ways. So like I really like this packet because it just helps me keep everything in one spot. And it helps me, I know what the colors mean. It helps me to make notes. I can mark, a lot of times I will make a note or I will mark that, okay, I left a voicemail, I left a text. And then maybe if I heard back from them a couple of hours, I'll go back and I'll mark, okay, we had a conversation, right? Good notes is really important. The other packet that Heidi pulled up, and you can feel free to pull it up really quickly if you want, is very similar. It's got all of the scriptings and everything that you need. It will also tell you, yep, it explains so right here what to do all the way through. So that helps to explain it if you guys want to look through that. And so then this document's a little bit different, right? Hey, Heidi, will you go back up to where it shows like group one? Okay, so this is meant to be more of like a trickle system for like a accordion file, right? So group one would essentially be day one. And so it's kind of got the same things. You have places that you can check boxes and everything. And then you make an accordion file for your months, basically. And so I've seen where some people, they have a box that they use for their leads or their profile cards or whatever. And let's say you get to the 5th and 6th attempt, and they actually literally move that card out to, so let's see, we're in April. So they would move that card out to June. So as they start their June month, they take a look at it, pull out the files, and they're like, oh, I've got these leads that I need to follow up with in June. So it really depends on what your personality and organizational style is. I personally like to work with a binder because I find that I have a tendency to lose things sometimes. But this document is really, really fantastic. And then as you scroll through, you're going to see that, again, there's different connections. So it says first connection in text, second connection in text, like what you're going to do throughout each one and how you're going to word that. If you wanted to put some of this into ChatGPT and kind of modernize it, I would highly recommend that. So you are using verbiage and phrases that is relevant, right? And that is going to be captivating to the audience that you have. But it also, like I said, has the different wording for the different types of leads, which I think is really important. And also depending on where you're at in your business. Some of us have been at this for years and years, and we just need to get in action again. But some of you maybe are brand new or haven't actually really started. So then that verbiage is going to be really helpful for you. So like I know some girls on my team who have been in their business for 6 months to a year and they've never really done anything with it. So you need to treat yourself like you are a new consultant, or maybe you've been in for several years and you haven't done anything for a while. You need to treat yourself like a brand new consultant and go through that scripting and the 30 faces and the 30 days and all of that kind of stuff. But it is absolutely crazy though, you guys, how much of a difference this makes in our business. And like I said, you can use this system no matter what your activity is. So 3 names and phone numbers. So you need 9 to start. And then you just do this leapfrog, you know, system. So so the part of the reason why they said 21 days is that by the end of 21 days, you will have worked through, generally speaking, your original 30 leads. You have done the full process. You've moved everybody forward, or you've booked everybody, you've sold everybody, whatever, and you're ready to start with your next 30 leads. So it's not like, I don't want you to think of it like, oh, at the end of the 21 days, now I'm not going to use this anymore. It's more of just like, it takes 21 days to work through your original set of leads, and then you're going to start the process over again. And if you continue this trickle system, whether it's again, some of us are doing a lot of bookings from our bookings, which is awesome. But I also wanted to speak to this and just share really vulnerably. I've been seeing a lot of faces. I've been getting quite a few sales. However, and I was talking with somebody else about this earlier, the whole interest in the business or the quality of them being in the business or trying to get them into the business has not really hasn't really been there. And so for myself wanting to move into directorship and everything, I obviously not only need to see faces and sell product, but it really comes down to like, I need a team to make this happen. Just like, Denise needs all of us to be active and moving to earn a car, right? And so what I have realized is that for whatever reason, the demographic that I have been in right now is fairly quality women. They're just not women that can visualize more for themselves or want to do more to get more. And so I am committed to reaching a different demographic, hence why I'm going to do some honoring working women. I'm going to get 30 new names, and I am going to start this process, and I'm going to trickle and see it through because leadership is where I am meant to be. And that can't happen if I don't have women that are wanting to work alongside me. And I know a lot of us are feeling this right now. And so I just love this. So again, start where you are with the amount of business that you want to create. And then it's about discipline and consistency. And the thing that I love about this is that it offers both. Like when you're like, okay, I've got my Mary Kay hat on, I've got 20 minutes. You come into your space, you open up your binder, and you're like, boom, I've got my leads right there. I know exactly what I'm doing. If nothing else, I'm contacting the 3, 5, 7, 10. If you want to go extravagant and do 15 to 20 a day, like it's wherever what you're wanting to produce for your business. And then it also takes the emotion out of it, right? So like, oh, what are they going to say? Are they going to say yes? Oh, crumb, it's been like 3 times. It doesn't matter. You're just going to work the system. Like if your boss at your job were to tell you to do that, you would do it. As an example, my son, super exciting. He just got himself a job at one of the fitness centers around, and one of his things to do is to make cold calls to people for memberships to get them in there for their free trial and to tour the place, right? So he's learning a lot about this, but his paycheck is dependent on whether he makes those calls or not, right? Because that's part of his job. So if we were to look at it like that, like this is just what we do, this is part of our job, right? This is moving our business forward. It takes the emotion out of it, it takes the feeling out of it, and then we can't justify with ourselves why we're not doing it. We just get in and get to work. And so anyways, I am going to make sure that both of those packets are uploaded onto the Facebook page as soon as we get off the meeting. You could use a combination of both if depending on which one you like and prefer. I wanted to give you guys options, but the thing that is gold in that is, like I said, the process and the scripting. Like, oh, thank you, Heidi. You're amazing. The scripting is gold, you guys. It gives you the words. And again, put it into ChatGPT, modernize it a little bit, tweak some things so it sounds like you, and then just get it done. And so anyways, with all of that, does anybody have any questions or anything on this process? It's something that I've worked with quite a long time. It's been a while since I've done it, but I have worked with this system for years, and the results that it makes is just, I mean, it's mind-blowing.
I love you, Rebecca. Sorry, Denise, I jumped on it. And that was so good. And I am so inspired to do the challenge with you. over the next few weeks for the same reasons. I want some girls to run with. And one of my girls that is running with me has been running into some negative Nancy's responding to her. And so how do you handle that from your perspective when you come across those people?
Yes, so when just to clarify, so when I reach out to somebody and they respond back to me with negativity, okay. Um, yeah, so I think it depends on the type of negativity. I've heard like, oh, I tried Mary Kay a million years ago and my face fell off and all of those excuses, right? And the one thing that I will say, if it's something like that, where like Mary Kay sucks, or it made me break out, or, I don't have a face anymore. Um, Sorry, just being a little bit funny. Um, if it's something along those lines, I try to encourage them as best possible. Well, I would love to share with you all of the ways that Mary Kay has changed, even just in the last 3 months. Would you be willing to get on a call with me? Because I know that if I can, most of the time they say no, just so you know, but I try that. Sometimes they'll say yes, but my goal is always to get them on the phone because I feel like if I can get them on the phone and they can hear my voice and they can know that I'm a real person and not be like, have their misconception, really, really stressed. There's no pressure to purchase. However, we will have awesome specials, like all of that where they can hear me. That's always my goal. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Um, if it's family and friends, I've been coaching a team member through that. Like they have a lot of negative family and friends. Actually, my most recent one was Wendy. Like when she reached out about her debut party, and I know she wouldn't mind me sharing this, literally everybody that she reached out to said no. And she said, maybe I'm just meant to be personal use and a customer. And I said, girl, can I get you on the phone? Let's just talk through this. And I said, here's the thing. You're not going to build your business off of your friends and family. Okay. How would you build any other business? You would go out and you would try and get, and does it take a little bit longer? Is it different? Yeah, it is. And so just encouraging her, like depending on the negativity that she's getting, right? I feel like we can coach them through that. And here's the honest to goodness truth. Like if you I have had it, but so this is a really interesting one. I've had people come to my booth, have conversations with me, enter, give me their name and phone number, and then when I contact them, they get all sorts of crazy nasty. Now, isn't that an interesting one? And generally, I just say, oh, I am so sorry. Like I usually truly like heart posture, right? Thinking of them. I am so sorry if I am coming across pushy or bugging. I assumed that because you gave me your name and phone number that you were interested. I will most definitely take you off my list if that's what you would like. And then take a deep breath, shake it off, and then move on to the next, right? Because it used to be that I would really, really try and convince people like, oh, but you really, really don't know, and you really, really need this, or you really, really want this. And I'm kind of just out of that space now. Like, sometimes I'll follow it up with, if you change your mind, you have my name and phone number. I would love to be able to be the person to facial you or give you a beauty session or service you or however you want to word that. But I mean, really, truly, I guess I've kind of chalked it up to if they're going to be super negative and not even know who I am, I really don't want them in my space and I don't want to be in their space. I'll do everything to do it with love and respect and to like share with them. But if they don't want it, they don't want it. And I'm not going to drag them along. So I usually take them off my list and move on. So I hope that answered your question.
That was perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Denise, you're muted.
We were always told some will, some won't. So what? Who's next? Or someone else is waiting. And
Yeah.
so I know
Yeah.
that sometimes people are so spammed to death on social media and email and things like that. And especially with bridal, it's a little bit of a special overcoming that you do, but that's how you really learn your skills. And Heidi, I know, you've worked through a lot of that so that you can help your team member for sure. Oh, my question that I was going to ask you earlier, though, Rebecca, was do you ever work with like 30 names or do you kind of try to stick to 10 at one time?
Yeah, so basically, so for this process, it's a total, you start with a total of 30 names,
Oh, okay.
and then you do 10 a day for the 3 days, and after the 3 days, you
Got
recycle
it.
them.
Okay. That's what I
Yeah.
thought. Okay. I was like,
Mhm.
I was hearing 10, but I didn't hear the 30.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Perfect.
Yeah. So depending on, like I said, where you're at in your business, so it's a total of 30 to start, and then you work it over like your 3 day process. So you have them grouped into each day, there's 10 contacts. And then you can do it a couple of different ways too, also. So when you book someone, so let's say you've got your 30 contacts, you do day 1, 2, and 3. Then day 4, you're cycling back to day 1. And that's how it's kind of like a leapfrog cycling process, right? So another way that we were taught that I forgot to touch on is rather than working through all of them and starting all the way over after the 21 days, um, you're always working with 10 leads at a time. And so let's say day 2, you get some hot shots that they're responding to you right away, and you book 2 of the 10, and then one of the 10 is like, crazy lady, take me off your list. So now you've got 3 holes out of the 10. Get some other names and phone numbers and you fill those holes, and then it's constantly recycling itself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay. I just wanted to
Yeah.
clarify that in case anybody else didn't catch it.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Mhm.
Any other questions?
No, but I don't take them off until they tell me to take them off. I have a touch that took me 9 months to book. And because finally booked her, she brought her aunt to an event, and her aunt, I was just trying to look, but she is on my team, and she's been on my team for gosh, 7 years. And she
That's
she
awesome.
she orders only 3 or 4 times a year, but she's
Yeah.
consistent.
Yep. Yeah, and that's a really good point, Jana. And so generally, like if I don't hear from them, or we're playing phone tag or whatever, I do that where I'll just continue to roll them over until they specifically say, take me off of your list. And so that's where, like, if you don't hear from somebody, that's when you move them 2 months out, and you keep trying until they say, get out of here, lady. you know? So,
I think about Allie when I think about that because I literally tried to get her to listen to marketing forever. And eventually, when she heard it, she was like, "Well, I wish I would have done this sooner."
mhm. Yeah, and that's a good point, Heidi. You can do this with your layering where your recruits are concerned as well, right? So I've had this gal that I have since Denise came up. Denise met her, and she's just had some life going on. But every couple of days, I follow up with her. I'm like, "Hey, girl, checking in. How are you?" Like I know that she is going to do it, and so that's where I'm not like hounding her, but I just want to stay in front of her too. And not all of it is about the business either. I mean, but it's some like, hey, thinking about you, how are you doing today? Right. And then if she brings up Mary Kay, we'll talk about Mary Kay. And then, and so you can do it. You can do this with bookings. You can do this with sales, your team members. It's a good way to talk, figure out your team members, potential recruits. Like you can use this in a lot of different areas of your business.
I just want to affirm you, Rebecca, because I love your training and you did such a good job. And it was so awesome at the beginning because there was some feelers I was thinking of when my eyes were closed, and it
Mhm.
just really kind of set the mood. And I'm sure I've heard this training before, but there was a bunch of pieces that were new that I hadn't heard before or didn't at least register it. So I'm really excited to do this one going forward. Thank you.
You're welcome. I love you.
Love you too.
Awesome. Anything else? Anyone? Any other? Okay. So I have a couple of statements that I would like to speak over us, if you guys are okay. So if you don't mind, we're just going to put our hands out in front of us, like we're receiving We're receiving this beautiful, beautiful gift. Okay. And so what I want to speak over you and over all of us is may we be women who live in abundance, not lack. May we be women who go for the dreams that were set on our mind and our hearts. May we be a woman that gets up and completes the day the way that we are led to. May we be women who give ourselves self-love and self-worth, so then we can teach others how to do that as well.
So good. Love it.
Thank you.
And you are that woman. And I had a conversation with Becca a little bit earlier, and we talked a lot about, power statements and affirmations and I am statements, and getting back to doing that before our meeting. And so what we're going to probably start doing, so be thinking about this, is Star Team Builders and Up, of just getting up and saying like just a 10 to 15 second power statement. If you need help with that, let me or your recruiter know. But I thought your training was phenomenal, Rebecca. And again, people really won't get excited about booking or team building unless they have a goal. So I loved how you started that out and just really taking people back to why they began in the first place and what they were excited about. So fantastic job. You were so ready for leadership. Mary Kay is so lucky to have you in our organization to carry this into the future.
Thank you so much. I love and appreciate all of you.
All right,
Love you
everybody.
too, Rebecca. Great stuff.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Have a wonderful, fantastic week, everybody.
You too. Good
See you
night,
live and
ladies.
in person. Good night.
Bye.